Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome back to the life of a virtual airline pilot. I know it's been a little while since I made a video, and well, I'm not going to apologize because you guys know that I'm just busy, but I've definitely been trying to get to it. Finally got an opportunity today, and we need to get a flight in anyway. So, all of that being said, with an overwhelming response, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this. You guys voted to fly up to CYYZ in the E190, or in this case, the E195. And the reason that I thank you so deeply from the bottom of my heart, well, really twofold. One is that so many of you voted. I really appreciate that. There was like 13 or 14 votes, and I think one of them was for a different flight, so I really appreciate everybody joining in on that. And the other reason is I just did not want to fly that ERJ-145 again. I don't really like that thing. I like the E195 and the E175. These planes aren't bad, but I don't like those smaller ones. So I don't even know if I'm going to give you an option for that in the future, so just be prepared not to see that anymore. I don't really like those things. But we got a few flights in there, and that's good because a couple of folks wanted to see how those work and get an opportunity to learn a little bit more about them. So I hope that we were able to do that in those flights. All right. So all of that being said, taking a quick look here, obviously we're still down in Miami. We got 29 hours to go, and I really want to start chewing up some of these hours. So I might do the next couple of videos as virtual airline pilot, and then go back to virtual cargo pilot for a video or two. I don't know, we'll see. But I want to try and chew some of these hours up because I really want to get to the rank of captain. It's because at captain we can climb into our 737, and I've got the PMDG NGX, which is just a beautiful aircraft. I love flying that thing, and there's an awesome mission up in Alaska that really takes us to some great airports. And I've got Orbix Alaska up there, and I've actually got a couple of add-on airports, including Juneau, which I bought after doing the difficult, dangerous, unusual, difficult, and dangerous approaches for Juneau, which is such a nice rendition of Juneau that I'm considering redoing that approach just so that we have it with that scenery. But I haven't decided on that yet. But anyway, so I want to chew up these 29 hours and change here as quickly as we can so that we can start flying something different. So all that being said, let's hop down here. Obviously, those are still all from that mission that we'll probably never finish at this point. But go into all bids and scroll down to the bottom. And I've already gone ahead and put it in here. ACA 917 Miami to CYYZ. So let's take a look at our pilot briefing here real quick. If my internet wants to work. It's always slow when I hop on here to do videos. The rest of the time it's really fast. There we go. Air Canada flight. Now I did do a repaint for the Field Air E195. It's not the greatest in the world, but we do have an Air Canada version, so that's what we're going to be flying. And I just want to give you a heads up right out the gate. It was an absolute pain in the butt to do that repaint, so I won't be doing many of those. But either way, departing at 17:25, arriving 20:29. Those are obviously Zulu times, 1,075 nautical miles. So it's going to be a nice long flight. We're going to get our weather from Active Sky as always, and we've already gone ahead and put together a flight plan in PFPX, so we don't need any of these dispatches here. I've got my own charts from Navigraph Charts, so we won't be using their charts either. So we should be good to go on all of that. So all of that being said, we need to hop on over into the sim, fire up ACARS, and we'll get this flight started. Alright, let's take care of our ACARS here real quick. You can see I've already gone ahead and grabbed the flight that's the one we're going to be flying today. So there it is, ACA 917, Miami to Toronto Pearson. And I just like to check our departure airport's Miami, and our current location is Miami. So we're good to go on that. Got 102 packs coming on board today. So let's go ahead and set up the flight. Let's see, what's our cruise altitude going to be today? I'm just looking over here at my flight plan. It looks like 320 is our initial cruise altitude, so let's go ahead and put that in there. And then as far as the route goes, we'll just pick a previous route. Remember, it does not matter what route we put in there. That's not the route we have to fly. That's just the route that shows up on this flight map over here. So we're going to be flying a slightly different route than what I just put in, but just looking at it here, it's similar. It's similar. So we're going to go on all that. I think that's it. It's been a little while since I've done this, hasn't it? Just double checking. It's not giving us the start flight thing yet. Not sure why that is. Let's click. There we go. For some reason, yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't think I really noticed that before. So because we went here first, put in our altitude, checked it, and then put in the previous route, we had to actually open that again to get the start flight button to highlight. So little glitch there, but not a big deal. So we'll go ahead and click on start flight. We are in the E195. The scheduled aircraft is the E190. They are both next to each other on the substitution chart, so we're good on those. Click the check. And we are rocking and rolling. As you can see, I've got it paused at the moment. We'll unpause it here in just a second. And there we are. And there's the repaint that I did for the E195 for Air Canada. Very simple repaint, actually. But on the other side, which I'm not showing right now, the C is just a little out of alignment. So the back part of Canada is just slightly out of alignment. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to line up. It was just driving me nuts. So we've got some food coming on board there from our catering service, so we're good to go. I won't do the load passengers because I'm not sure how to open the cargo doors on this, and I don't want to fight with GSX. So all that being said, we'll hop down inside here, and while they're loading that up, real quick, I don't recall if I made a little pop-up here for the cockpit safety inspection, but if I did, it should be popping up right about now. Maintenance status has been checked. Cockpit emergency equipment is checked. Electrical panel checked. Fuel panel, windshield wipers, hydraulic panel, air conditioning and pneumatics panel, ELT, and landing gear lever, not level, all checked. Alright. Start and stop selectors are supposed to be in stop, and those are down here. That's these ones right here. So if we zoom down here, and that glare is terrible, isn't it? Let's see if we can get, there we go. Can't see anything. So pop the cover up. They're supposed to be in stop, so you just rotate them down there. And they're in stop now, and then we'll close the covers for now. So we're good on that. Speed brake lever is closed. That's this guy right here, and closed means speed brakes are down. The RAP manual deploy is stowed. Now, somebody mentioned what this stands for. It's ram air turbine, I think is what it's called. And they told me where to find it, and I forgot. Oh, there it is, RAP manual deploy. And I guess there's supposed to be a lever there or something. Anyway, you can't actually do anything with it here, so we're good to go on that. Flap lever, verify position. It is 0, which is where it should be. And circuit breakers are checked. They're not actually simulated in here, so we're good to go on that. And that is going to roll us right into our power-up checklist, which means we need to hop on the overhead. Battery 1 needs to come on. There it is, and we'll start getting some dinging soon. Battery 2 needs to go to auto. Now, it still says battery 1. I still laugh at that, but that one goes to auto as well. Now, let me click on this thing, because otherwise it'll keep dinging at us. Battery voltage checked. Now, somebody also mentioned that there's a place to check this. Perhaps it was on here somewhere. Let's see. Let's pop that up. There's probably something we pressed to check it, and to be honest with you, I just don't recall what it was, so I'm not going to sweat it, because that initial announcement that the aircraft makes to you when you turn the battery on, I think tells you that your voltage is good. So we're good on that. GPU button as required. Well, we're not using ground power, so we don't need to press the GPU button. Hopping back up here, the fire extinguisher panel checked. You can't actually do anything with these. You can't test them or anything, so we're just going to go ahead and say they're good. APU selector knob goes to start now. That's this guy right here, all the way to start, and you should hear it spinning up here shortly. Nav and logo lights need to come on, so we'll do that while that's spinning up. So nav's already on. It's got like every light on in here, doesn't it? Nav and logo lights on. The thing's spinning up. I'm trying to listen for it. I think it is. Hydraulic panel checked. Now, it's been a little while since I've been in here. Here we go. Hydraulic panel. Auto, on. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's checked. Electronic CBs checked. Which ones are those? You guys will have to bear with me on this one. I got to sort of pick my way through it. They bounce around on this one a lot, if I remember correctly. Electronic CBs. What are electronic CBs? Huh. I'm going to assume they're good for now. How's that? Photoluminescent strips. I don't even know where those are. So we'll say that those are checked. All right. So that takes us, let's see, into, this is a pre-flight checklist. I don't know if I made one for this either. Pressurization panel needs to be set. and I don't think we can actually change pressurization. That's this guy down here, altitude, rate of climb, so on and so forth. So we're good on that. Oxygen masks checked. Flight instruments set and cross-check. This means the barometric pressure setting, which should be 3002 right now. So barometric pressure setting. Let me pop this up so you can see it. 3002. Bam. We're good on that. Thrust levers are at idle and parking brake needs to go on, which it is. There we go. So that's going to roll us right into our before start checklist. Trim panel needs to be set. Well, we can't really double check the trim until we do our FMC or MCDU, which is going to be next. That's checked and set, it says on here. So let's hop on in. And no present position. So in order to do that, we go to the nav page. And page 2, and position initialization, load whichever one of these. KMIA is the reference, so we're good. And then over to flight plan. Now, I do this, I've been doing this on purpose. I've done it the last few flights. If I click load flight plan, it says cannot import. That's okay. It can't do that because I haven't loaded it in FSX yet. So in order to load a flight plan in here, you must load an FS flight plan. What I do is I create the flight plan in PFPX, and then I save it as an FSX flight plan. So I go to Flight Planner and load, and there it is right there. I created that with PFPX. Open, and I'm not going to find route. If I find route, it's going to change it. So I'm just going to click OK. I don't want it to move my aircraft, so I'm going to click No. And now, let me get rid of that menu first. When I click Load FS Flight Plan, come on, baby. Bam! There it is, just like that. All right, click on Activate. And off to performance initialization. Now remember, I haven't done this in a little while, so it's probably going to be a disaster, but page 1, there's nothing we need to change here. Hold on, got a cough coming your way. There we go. Fuel reserves, we want 2,000 pounds, so we'll put that in there. And remember, these are they're not lined up properly, so this is for this guy here, this one is for that one, and so on and so forth. Contingency fuel's fine as it is. Go to the next page. Zero fuel weight, which we get from, you guessed it, this guy, the configuration tool. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and selected E195, put in the number of packs that we're going to have. For the cargo, I just left it as it was, and we should be good to go on that. So our zero fuel weight is 92,487. So let me move that back over here. And 92,487. Now what I haven't done yet is I haven't pulled up my charts to determine, we'll go ahead and confirm that, to determine our V speeds yet, so I'll have to do that here in a couple of minutes. Check destination fuel. It always says that no matter what. Every time I've done this, it always says that right out the gate. So, performance data, nothing to do here. We're not going to mess with the winds. I'm not worried about it. So we're good on all that, so let's go right to our departure. And we're going to be taking runway 27, so this is takeoff 3027. See? There we go. I think, yep, runway 27. And we are taking the Potter 6 departure. So let's find Potter 6. Next page. Oh, come on. You're going to tell me it's not on here? I'm up to date on my come on, brain. You know what? That's all right. I'm going to brief Potter 6, but Headley 2 is almost identical, so that's what we're going to take is the Headley 2. Okay? Because we're going to transition at Headley anyway. So we'll insert those. Make sure that we don't have any breaks there, no discontinuities, which we don't. All the way up to page 6, it's a long flight. So we're good to go on all of that. Let's activate it. Check altitude constraints. Okay, thank you. Which one? Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, we're good on that. Now, there's still a few more things we need to do here. And let's see. The runway position is something we do when we actually go out to the runway. Now, we're good on this guy, but we're going to need to do a few other things. Let's pop this up real quick. Let's see. Systems? No. Plan? No. Map. And then if you click on map again, we can put our progress down here, which I like to have. Click on it one more time, and we can put our vertical profile in here, and there we go. And I just realized you can put a missed approach in there too. So that's kind of cool. So we've got that. We do need to set our V speeds, and I'm going to have to figure that out here because I haven't done it in a little while. But let's just go back to the checklist for just a second and make sure Everything else is good to go. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to do but what we're doing right here. Okay, I think I remember how to do it now, though. So, we don't want runway position. We want performance takeoff data. That's what we're looking for there. And it's page 3 of the takeoff data. So, starting with, let's do page 1 here, the wind, which is, come on, brain function. It's 210 degrees at 9 knots. I had to look at my notes here. 210 degrees / 9 knots. Put that in right there. Remember, the buttons are not lined up properly. Next page, nothing we need to do here. We're good on that. But here's our V speed. So I need to pull up my charts real quick. And once I've pulled up my charts, before I actually can put anything in here, I need my gross weight. Where do I get that at? Click on your performance button. Go to performance initialization. We should have wrote this down while we were here, but again, it's been a while. Page 3, and we take our gross weight here, which is 111,500 pounds. Okay, we've got that. Back over to the takeoff page and page 3. So when I look on my takeoff charts, I've got 110,200 pounds and then 112,400 pounds. So which one do you think we're using? That's right. We're going to go with the heavier one, and our pressure altitude is just a little bit above 2,000 feet. So we'll be using 148, 149, 151, and 211. So V1 is 148. V rotate is 149. So we're basically going to rotate as soon as we hit V1. And then V2 is 151. And then VFS, which is something to do with flap speed, I forgot what it is 211. And this will remain the same when we set our speeds, our reference speeds for landing as well, because that's the speed at which we climb out on a missed approach. Alright, so climb, it comes next. 240 is this climb speed that's in there, but they say they want us at 250 as fast as we can. So I'm going to put 250 in there, see if it lets me. It does not. Hold on one second. Yes, baby. You want what? You want what? I don't know what you're saying. Say hi to YouTube. Say hi to YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
My little 3-year-old girl. I don't know what she wants. She's asking for something, but anyway, top of climb altitude is flight level 320. So 32 and 3 zeros, and let's see if it puts that in there. It's not putting that in there either. So let's go to cruise and see if it lets us put it in as cruise altitude. Invalid entry. There, I remember we went through this once before. Maybe it was on the performance page. Let's go back here. Performance initialization. This thing is always funky. It's so weird. Takeoff, landing, fuel reserve, step increments, transition altitude. Okay, here we go. Initial cruise altitude. So that's where you're going to go. Page 3 of the performance initialization. Flight level 320, but we'll just put it in as 32,000. Did I just put 320,000? I did. 32,000. Put that in there. There we go. That's what we wanted. Now, when we go starting from our takeoff page to our climb page, it's not letting me change that. I don't know why. Maybe because you have to put in this here, so it would be what, 0.72 or something like that. Let's try that. 250 slash point. I think it's actually Mach 0.73, give or take a little. That lets us change that, but it doesn't let us change this. That's interesting, but it says up here 250 slash whatever. Okay, cruise, off we go. Optimum would be 332. We're going to 320, so we're pretty close to that. Nothing to change here. Descent 250. I think we're going to be good on that. And then landing, we'll put this information in as we get a little bit closer. We can put the elevation in there though, right? The elevation is 569 feet. 569, that's going to be our landing elevation. Is it not letting me put it? Why won't it? Come on. It probably automatically populates it when I put in the runway or something like that. We're not going to we can do our star right now. What was our star again? Nuber 1, that's what it was. Nuber 1. What did it do? Go to the next page? Oh, that's the transitions. I'm going to mess with this a little bit later because I have to look at it again. Okay, so there we go. We're pretty much all set up. That's our MCDU. Now we check our fuel quantity. It says no less than 2,000 pounds. Well, we're good on that. We've got more than 2,000 pounds. If we pull it up right here, I pulled this up so you guys can see. Our fuel quantity is 19,010 pounds. A little less on the right than on the left because the APU. That's normal. Passenger signs need to go on at this point if they have not already done so. Passenger signs. There they are right there. They're already on. So we're good on that. What is this? Sterile lights. Not sure what that means, but there you go. Sterile lights. Doors and windows. They are not closed yet. Let's go ahead. Let's hop out here. So I've got all the doors closed, but for some reason the catering trucks are still, I don't know, not doing their thing right or something like that. TSX is really a pain. This guy's not loading anything. This guy's walking through the door. I tried opening all the doors. See, he'll just walk right through the door there, but he's not loading, which means, I don't know. I don't know if he's just not supposed to be loading and he's just there for fun or what. It doesn't tell me how long it's going to be until they're done loading. And I'm not sure if you go to their little panel here, if I go prepare for pushback and departure, see, like he's going in and out. I don't know what he's doing. If I do that, it's going to tell me to wait till they're done. Now, they should have been done already. It's not like they have to load that much on this. So I'm probably going to have to shut down GSX and then restart it in order to get this to work. How frustrating. Anyway, we'll let them do their thing for, well, it looks like maybe he's finishing up, so that's good. Okay, so while he's doing that, let's go ahead. Doors and windows are closed and locked. Flight deck door is locked, I believe. I thought there was a button down here to lock it. Maybe not. No. I'm gonna pretend that it's locked. Red beacon needs to come on at this point. Where are you at? Red beacon. This is strobe light. There we are. Red beacon on. Hydraulic pump 3A needs to be on. Hydraulic pump. That's the electric. On and on. System 3A on. We're good. Overhead panel is normal. That means there's no lights. Windshield heating. Those lights mean that it's off. Okay. It never told me to turn them on. Normally you do though. Normally you have windshield heating on. So let's go ahead and turn those on. And so normal means that we don't see anything. So we're good at on all that, which means next is our push and start. Oh, I'm bumbling around here a little bit. Yeah, push and start comes next. So let me pause for just a second here, make sure I got everything in order, and make sure GSX is going to work properly, and then we will push and start. Alright, so we got them lining up, getting ready to push back. I got rid of the little pop-up here, so you hear them talk, but you won't see the little thing pop up that tells me what they're doing. So the start checklist is about as simple as it gets. We're literally going to click these to start.
Departure check completed. Live has been inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push.
Passenger loading completed, so we're good there. So we're literally going to click these to start one at a time. So all you do is left click to pop open the cover, and then use your mouse wheel, that's run, and then start. And then the FADEX system will close the cover back down. The FADEX system does everything for you. You don't need to do anything else. You can already see the ITT and N2 coming up, as well as the N1, and the engine will just fire up on its own. As simple as it gets. Boy, he started turning me left immediately, didn't he? And there it goes, spinning up just fine. So we'll give it a second, let it stabilize. And then once that's done, we'll go ahead and start engine 1. While we're doing that, I almost forgot, we need to press FMS here. You can see right now it's on localizer 1. That means it's on nav. If I press FMS, now it goes to FMS navigation so that we can use the LNAV and VNAV. You know what I did forget to do? We need to set our altitude, right? So let's go ahead and crank that up, 32,000. Oh, come on. I hate that little weird movement that it does. There's no logical reason for that. There's 32,000, and then our initial speed of 250. We'll set that.
Set parking brake.
Oh yeah, that was a quick pushback, wasn't it? There we go. Let's go ahead and start engine number 1 while they're doing their thing. Engine 1 will spool up. Okay, so we've got that set. Flight directors need to be on. There's the flight director. We're good to go on that. Let's go ahead and pop that back down there. And then let me zoom in here a little bit so you can actually see. Alright, so on departure we're going to be using the, let's make sure yaw damper's on.
Unlocking gear.
Yaw damper off, nope, on, there we go, okay. Remember, these don't light up. You have to use the indicators on here to tell you which, what you call it, come on brain function, to tell you which function is actually active right now. Alright, let them finish doing their thing. So we'll use nav, that's going to give us our LNAV, and then VNAV. Now, VNAV mode, I believe, only works for descent. I don't think it works for ascent, for climbing, which means we'll have to probably use the flight level change for our climb, which is fine. What we'll do is we'll press the flight level change, and then we'll adjust our speed to get the rate of climb that we want. So we should be good to go on that. So that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and take care of the after start checklist here. Flaps need to be set. So let's go ahead and bring those down if I can find my flaps here. And I believe we need to go one more. There we go. Flaps are set. ICAS is checked. Dispatch clearance is checked, and we're good to go, which means the only thing to do after that will be the after takeoff checklist. Let me pop this up. What did I set my flaps at? Flaps 3? No, it needs to be flaps 2. I was incorrect. Flaps 2 is where we want to be for takeoff. So we're good on that, which means my usual, I'm going to double check everything, make sure I didn't miss anything. I need to turn my track IR on anyway, and once all that is done, we will taxi out, take care of our taxi and departure briefings, and get this flight going. Alright, we got everything in order. I got track IR turned on. We are ready to taxi out. I know the route I'm taking. You're going to know it here in just a second. So let me turn track IR on. Jumps around a little bit. Let's get the brake off. And get my head to stop moving around quite so much here. Bring in a little bit of throttle. See if we can get this bird moving. There we go. And, oh, you know what? I did forget something. Taxi light. Trust taxi light. Inspection light. I don't know what that is. Taxi lights. Takeoff lights. There we go. Okay, we got those. We're taxiing out. So let's go ahead and give you guys the taxi brief and the departure briefing. Alright, since this is an international flight, we're going to be over here at the international terminal and going to try for E8. Of course, we already know what gate we're at, but I'm recording this beforehand. So we should be right over in this area here. We're going to go ahead, based on the weather, which is, wind is 210 at 9 knots. We're going to take runway 27, just because it's close and quick and easy. So we'll push out here, nose left, tail right, come down here to Quebec, take this all the way down here to the end, and we'll be holding short of runway 27 there. Alright, so we've actually taken this departure before. This is the Potter 6 departure. Last time we took it, we were actually headed this way here. Today we're actually going up to Headley, which is right up here. So it's going to be vectors. This is runway 27. So as we depart out of here, it's technically vectors over to Drum. Now I'll have to actually look at the flight plan, but I think Headley's actually our first waypoint on the flight plan, which is good because I don't want to try and circle back here to Drum. That wouldn't make sense. But once we depart out here, we'll fly runway heading for just a little bit, and then we'll make a right turn, and we should be headed straight for Headley. Good to go on that. Minimum altitude of 4,000 feet. It seems like there's a lot going on here, but there's really not. These are just pointing to VORs, which are all transitions off of this. These VORs are all transitions off of the departure here, and then you've got a couple obviously in here, FLL for Fort Lauderdale and so on, but not a whole lot to worry about. As always, green box has your frequencies. We're still not using those. I've had some questions about that lately. Just real short and brief here. I'm not using VATSIM or IVAO for a reason. I've mentioned that in the comments, so you know, by all means, if you're not sure why that is, throw it down in the comments. I'll be glad to answer it. But hopefully at some point we'll find a decent ATC program. There's a couple out there that are okay, but I'm still a little iffy on them. So enough said about that. Quick note down here, you must accelerate to 250 knots as rapidly as possible until reaching 10,000 feet unless requested by ATC to do otherwise. So in other words, unless ATC assigns you a specific speed, they want you to increase to 250 knots as quickly as possible. So we'll try and keep that in mind as we head on out here, and hopefully we won't have any issues doing that. The E-jets, they're a little funky if you remember on the climb out, but we'll take a look at it. Anyway, that's pretty much it for your departure. Alright, I'm sure you heard plenty of noise going on in the background there. That would be my filthy children. They're having fun though, so I don't mind. The whole short point is actually in a strange position. It's actually at the end of the runway. I think I'm incorrect in where I'm at. I'm not supposed to actually be here, and I got lost while I was taxiing out here too, so good times. But anyway, let's go ahead and take care of our before takeoff checklist. We need to check the takeoff config button, and remember, in order to do that, we need to take the parking brakes off, which they are.
Takeoff, okay.
And we're good to go. So let's put those back on for a second. We're good on that. Brake temp is checked. We barely touched the brakes all the way out here, so we're good on that. ICAS is checked. Landing lights need to come on. That's these guys up here. Strobe lights need to come on. That is this one here. And transponder needs to go to TARA. In order to do that, you hop down here and click on radio, and then click right there, and TARA, we're good to go. Back to our flight plan. Remember, we're going to have to intercept that on our own. Let's make sure that's everything. Yep, that is until the that's it for the before takeoff. Next would come the after takeoff checklist, which means let's go. Turn the track IR on. Oh, I got to resettle my position here just a little bit. All right, bring the throttles up, and we're good to go. So we'll just get her lined up here, and off we shall go. Try not to mess anything up. And I don't remember, it's been a little while. I don't think this airplane gives the call outs as we're rolling down the runway. I hear a child crying. She sounds upset. Knowing her, it's probably because she's not getting her way. Okay, moving on. She doesn't sound hurt, so we're good. Alright, down we go. Let's try not to wobble down the runway too much. Boy, that sucker starts pulling to the left quick, doesn't it? Woo, there we go. Straighten it out just a little bit. Try and get back to the center of the runway here. There we go. Now we're looking better. Alright, watching our speeds there. Looking for V1 and rotate. Come on. Oh, coming up on it here pretty quick. And there we go. Rotate. Pull back. Steady as she goes. And we are airborne, sir. Positive rate of climb. Let's get the gear up. Now, I know the departure briefing was a little different than the departure we're actually taking. I think I already explained that. For whatever reason, the departure I wanted to take is not listed in the CDU, whatever you want to call it. So, we're stuck with what we're stuck with. We're just a little over the top of the flight director there. Actually, no, we're not. I think we're pretty good. Yeah, there's a little arrow on the left side of it. Anyway, let's go ahead and start making a left turn here. We can bring one setting of flaps out. Good on that. Keeping an eye on our speed, keeping an eye on our rate of climb, rate of turn, the whole shebang. Boy, it says we should be turning steeper, doesn't it? I am not turning that steep. This is just not going to happen. So, what's probably going to happen here is we're going to intercept the course right out here. You can see we're headed straight towards that magenta line, and in fact, so quickly that we can go ahead and start our right turn now. So we're good on that. Let's go ahead and bring the autopilot on. Hit the nav function. There's the LNAV right there, and then hit the flight level change. And there we go. Start climbing, you. Boy, that speed's going up quick. Bring those flaps up. This plane is, I don't know, it's a little more difficult for me to fly. Let me go ahead and get this track IR off here. I try not to move too quick when I do that. So you can see our speed is currently set at 206 knots. If I change that, if I bring it up to 240 knots or 250 knots, which is where we want to be, it'll decrease its rate of climb. There it is coming down. Now you got to watch it on this one. I don't know if it's an error in what they did, but it'll actually start to head towards the ground if you increase the speed too quickly. So let's get it up to 250 knots. There she goes. The flaps are all the way up at this point, so we're good on that. It did say to accelerate to 250 as quickly as possible. We've done that. We're headed on to our next waypoint already. Boy, we're on a roll quick, aren't we? Boy, this takeoff's just a lot going on really fast. Alright, so let's go ahead and take care of our after takeoff checklist. Flaps are set at 0. We'll double check that. Yes, they are. Landing gear is up. It is. There we go. And pressurization is checked. That's this guy right here. And we don't see any yellow or red, so that means our pressurization is good. The airplane's going to serpentine back and forth for a little bit while it tries to find its way on course. And that is it for our after takeoff checklist, which means, you guessed it, it's time for that obligatory elevator music. Alright, it's going to be the Nuber 1 arrival for us today, coming in here, transitioning off of Fingal right out here. And as you can see, this gets very busy as you get closer to the airport. But in short, based off the weather right now, which may be subject to change by the time we get on the arrival, the wind right now is 325 at 9 knots, with gusting to 15. So we're looking at most likely taking, I think it's runway 33. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, runway 33. Pretty sure about that. Left, in fact. So anyway, coming in here at Fingal, we need to be at or below 19,000 feet. See that right here? That's why the line is above it. And turn to 038 degrees down to Durlo. Minimum altitude, minimum safe altitude, 3,200 feet. We're not going to be that low when we get here. Durlo, turn to 063 degrees on down to Nuber, which is down in here, and then it gets a little difficult to see what's going on, but if we're going to be landing on 33, which heads towards the north here, we're going to be hanging a right probably to Ikbat, then out to Kedro. Now, this is set up to come in here on runway 6, left or right, and if we're taking runway 833, we got to get out here a little further. So, most likely from Kedro, I guess that's how you say it, we're going to scoot on down here a little bit further and then come up in it. Keep in mind that these circles are, that this is 10 nautical miles here. This one I think is 20. So we don't need to be real far out when we make our turn down here. So we'll probably make a slight left turn here, come straight across and then circle up and in for runway 33 left. If that continues to be the runway we're going to land on. Of course, by the time we get to that point, we'll have done the approach briefing, so we'll know then which runway we're going to be taking. All of that being said, hold on. Got to get a cough in your face. You'll probably get some more of those. So that's what we're looking at here. It does look pretty busy in here, but hopefully we won't have any issues. It's really hard to see. It doesn't look like they have a lot of altitude restrictions, but we do have some speed restrictions. At Ikbat, we've got 220 knots. That's the speed they want us at when we get there. Nothing for Kedro, and I don't see anything for Nuber either, so we should be good to go with all of that. And I think that's pretty much it. Transition level remains 18,000 feet. We'll see that change when we get to other parts of the world. Frequencies up in the green box as always. ATIS is on 120.825, or that's for the D ATIS, regular ATIS 133.1, and then arrival, there's several of them there. I'm not sure which one we'd be using, but it's not really going to matter in the end because we're not using it today. So off we go then. Alright, as you can see, we're going to be on top of descent in 2 shakes of a pickle here. And even though the descent checklist takes place after you cross below 18,000 feet, there's a couple things I want to show you real quick, and we're going to have to go through it really fast. This is not a checklist. Okay, first thing we need to do before we can descend is we need to reset our altitude. Okay, so we're going to set our altitude. I'm just going to take it all the way down to 3,000 feet. Now, normally what you do is you set it to your first altitude constraint. I'm not worried about that. This is the sim world. Once you've done that, we can hit the VNAV function. That's this button right here. But watch. It just says VA select, and then it wants to start descending, right? That's no good. We don't want that right now. Okay. So, so not what I wanted it to do. Okay. So what it's supposed to do, hold on a second, let me level it out here. Oh, come on, you're killing me. Sometimes I hate this thing. Okay, so I put it on VNAV, or not VNAV, vertical speed. So what it's supposed to do, and apparently I have it incorrect, but when you hit top of descent, or just before top of descent, it's supposed to allow you to arm it, but apparently it just does its own thing. So we can use VNAV for descent, okay, and you can see we're almost right on top of it here. Remember, use the scroll wheel to change the range on here. So we're just about on top of it. We've only descended a tiny bit anyway. So what it should have done is it should have armed it, but it didn't do that, so that's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and wait till it gets to the top of descent here, which is pretty much just about on top of it. Hit VNAV again. Now it goes to V path. That's what I wanted, not V altitude select. I wanted V path. Okay. Now it's overspeeding itself just a little bit. Let me throw some spoilers out there. There we go. All right, because we don't want it to overspeed. It is on auto throttle. It should control itself on the way down. So it should, although it doesn't seem to want to. Let's get some speed brakes out there. There we go. Slow down a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring this speed down just a little bit anyway. Let's go ahead and bring it down to 7.74. Actually, that's pretty low, isn't it? Right there is good. 0.76. Let's slow down to 0.76. That should keep us from overspeeding. Anyway, so the point is what it should have done is it should have armed, but it didn't want to arm. It just went to V altitude select. So there you have it. That was just your real quick. Now we're going to do the descent checklist, but not until we cross below 18,000. So I'll see you back here in a minute. Alright, so it looks like we're going to be sticking with the ILS 33 left arrival, as mentioned, or approach, I'm sorry, as mentioned during the arrival briefing. So you can see here the frequency 110.905. Looking down here, final approach course, looks like we're going to come in at IK MEX. That's our initial approach fix. Down to Urban, and then our final approach point at MBOP. And then AppMam is our, I guess, final approach. I don't know. Yeah, final approach fix, or something like that. I forget what that stands for. Anyway, down to AppMam, and then on AppMam, and then on in from there. Course is 327 degrees. And let's see, they do have a common ILS DME frequency for runway 15 right and 33 left. So the other direction is 15 right, which means the identification, the frequency is the same, but the ident is different. So if you look here, you got dot dot dash and then 3 dashes, and that is your your Morse code identifier for 33 left, and it would be a different identifier for 15 right. Now I don't know how that works since they're on the same frequency, but there you go. So it says to verify the idents are for this approach. You want to verify that sound, and if I remember, I'll do it, but I probably will forget. So, all that being said, let's take a look at our profile view here. Okay, let's see. We've got 2,588 meters of runway, 61 meters wide, plenty to work with. There is a displaced threshold of 179 meters. What that means is we cannot land on this portion of the runway. We must land beyond it. And so what we should see is those white arrows on the ground. Remember, yellow arrows or chevrons means you're not supposed to be on it at all. White means that you can taxi and take off from it, but you can't land on it. So we have to overfly those and land on this portion of the runway. Standard 3-degree glide slope with PAPI lights on the left-hand side. There is no actual gradient to the runway because it's FSX and everything is flat. We don't need to worry about this. It's for non-precision approach. Coming in over here at IK MEX at 3,000 feet. onto Urban as mentioned, and then final approach point. It says 2,600 feet, so we'll probably descend just a little bit before we make that final approach point, which is almost on top of our descent point. I don't know why they're so, excuse me, a little hiccup there. I don't know why they're so close to each other like that. I would think you would just put them together, but it is what it is. Begin our descent there, crossing over MBOP and then APMAM, and on down in we go. Let's see what else. Oh, let's look at our missed approach here. So for a missed approach, we're going to climb at heading 327 degrees up until we reach 1,100 feet, and then at 1,100 feet we'll make a left turn to heading 285. Let's see, and then it says left turn again. I don't know if those go together, but intercept the QDM 245 degree radial, ZKF to ZKF, and climb to 3,200. I'm even a little confused by that, so let's take a look at that up here. So initially we're going to climb out on the approach heading of 327 until we reach 1,100 feet. Right here, that's telling us 1,100. We'll make a left turn to heading 285, and we'll continue on that until we intercept the 245 degree radial to the ZKF VOR, which is going to be out here somewhere. So, and then this little inset here, this tells you. So that's the Wellington VOR.
Transition altitude, Captain.
Excuse me. Actually, it's not a VOR, is it? It's a what's it called, a Vortac or something like that? Boy, my brain is not going to function on that today. Either way, our frequency is actually 335. It's not a standard frequency like you see for YYZ here of 112.15. So if I remember, I'll show that, but most likely I won't because I haven't done a video in a little while, and, well, I'm just tired. But anyway, so out to ZKF, and then we would hold there. Of course, we're probably not going to fly the entire missed approach procedure if we have to fly it at all, but ATC would have us doing that. What we'll probably do is climb out to 1,100, make the left turn to 285, and then continue on up to, what was it? 3,200. Once we reach 3,200, we'll come back around and give it another try. And I think that's pretty much it for the approach briefing. I don't see anything here that we need to concern ourselves with beyond that. Now, I know my approach briefings aren't the best in the world, but there you have it. Any questions? Of course not. Video, remember that. Alright, so obviously we are below 18,000 feet now. We crossed 18,000 feet while we were doing the approach briefing. So I did figure out that you kind of have to start the descent with the vertical speed and then hit VNAV, and it goes to VNAV path. I don't know why that is. But anyway, let's take care of the descent checklist real quick. Auto brake needs to be set. We're not going to be using it, so we'll leave it off. Landing data is next. Now this is where you got to go to the manual that you got with the aircraft. You got to go to the 195 landing speeds, and here's what we got to do. Go to your performance page, performance initialization, and then go to page 3. This is one of 3, page 3. 97,650 is our current gross weight. So we can make the assumption that we're going to burn 650 pounds between now and the time we land, or we can round up. I'm going to make the assumption that we're going to burn it because that's going to put us at 97,000 at landing. Okay, we're going to take our VREF speed from 97,000 pounds for full flaps, which is going to be 125. So let's start there. Go back here and click on landing and go to page 3, and VREF is going to be 125. Approach speed is an additional 5 knots, so that's 130. And then the VAC is either for a flap 2 or a flap 4 setting. We're going to go with the flap 4 setting, so that's going to put us at 144. We're going to have to start that descent again here shortly. And then the VFS, we can change that now, and the VFS in this case is going to be 195. 195. Bam, and that is our landing data. My brain didn't want to function there. Okay, if we look here, you can see we should already be descending. So right now it's on, well, it's on VPath, so apparently it is descending. So we're good on that. We're at 10,900 feet. Keep an eye on that so that we don't, oh, in fact, we need to slow down. This is one thing that I absolutely hate about this thing, is the speed switches to Mach once you get above a certain altitude, and it won't, you can't get it to switch back. So I have to guess on what the speed is supposed to be set out to make sure I'm below 250 knots when I get below 10,000 feet. Obnoxious. Altimeter set and cross check 29 or 9 or 5. I had 29 or 9 or 6, but apparently it's 9 or 9 or 5. So we're good to go on there. So that is the descent checklist, and as you can see, we're going to make a right turn, we're going to swing out over there, and then we're going to come back, we're going to be landing on this runway right here. This is CYYZ below, so in case you weren't aware. Alright, so that's that. Other than I'll stick with you just until we get below 10,000 here, which will be in just a second. Maybe. Wow. That was quite the rapid descent there, wasn't it? What does that say? Fuel imbalance. Ooh, that's quite the fuel imbalance, isn't it? How do we balance? Can we balance the fuel in this?
Descending below 10,000 feet.
Shut up. Okay, do that. Lights on. I'm going to figure out how to balance the fuel and let this keep doing its thing, and I will see you guys when we get ready for the approach checklist. Alright, we're going to be turning on the final here pretty soon. I figured out two things with the fuel. Number one, I'm a moron because the checklist didn't say to turn off the APU. I just ran the APU for a 1,000-mile flight. So no wonder the fuel's lower in the right tank than the left tank, and no wonder I used more fuel than anticipated. That's obnoxious. So I wrote it in great big letters on my checklist since it's not on there. Number two, if you have a fuel imbalance of 800 pounds or more, you'll get this warning right here, fuel imbalance. Okay, here's how you do it. If the right-hand wing is lower than the left-hand wing, which it is, you're going to turn this to low 2, the crossfeed, which I've done, and you leave it there until they even out. If the left-hand wing is lower than the right-hand wing, you turn it to low 1, which is this side, and leave it there until they even out. So as of right now, what it should be doing is only burning fuel from this side and not from this side. And I know that to be true because the 1700 hasn't changed since I turned it on. And this one continues to go down. That being said, we ended up at 3,000 feet a lot faster than anticipated, but there's nothing I can do about that now. So let's go ahead and rotate our heading selector. There it is right there. And our final heading is 327. Come on around. There's 327. Let's put it in heading mode. And man, it's so hard to see these things and I forget where they're at. Let's see, where is, we need to switch this to nav. Nope, HSI ARC mode. This one maybe, set nav radio, there we go. And we need our approach switch, which is, my god, you can't see anything on this thing, can you? It's freaking ridiculous. There's the approach switch. Hit the approach switch, which we've done. It's captured the localizer. Should capture the glide slope pretty soon. We're watching for that right there. Now you see I'm still at Mach speeds, 0.35 Mach. It won't let me change that. Now I can switch it so that the FMS controls the speed, but I don't want that because I don't want that. Remember, our landing speed is going to be 125. We're going to pretty much control that manually. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring the speed down more so that we can start bringing in flaps. That's our initial flap setting there. The good news is it shouldn't change much from this point forward. Now, let's see, approach checklist won't come until we're actually all configured. We're about to hit the glide slope right here, so we should see, even though it doesn't show it on here, it shows V altitude, we should see it intercept the glide slope once this green arrow gets to right here. There it is right there. So it should intercept the glide slope here shortly. There it is. Intercepted the glide slope and down she goes. With that, we want to slow down some more. Let's bring our speed down around 170 there, give or take a little bit. Let's bring out a little bit of spoilers. You can't use the spoilers after you go to flaps 2 or something like that. We need to slow way down actually because we're quite close. So let's bring that all the way down. We said 125, so we want to get this. That's as low as it goes. It's 0.20 Mach, which is fantastic. So we're gonna have to do it manually here pretty soon, aren't we? Let's just go ahead and turn throttle off. Okay, we've got the throttles all the way back. Initial flap setting, we're good there. We're okay to bring the gear down at this point, so let's do that. Next flap setting. What are you dinging about? There's nothing to ding about. Spoilers, that's why. We'll arm the spoilers at this point. See, it doesn't let you do the spoilers after a certain flaps when you go to flaps 2. Next flap setting coming in. Watching that speed. Remember, 125 is what we're looking for. Gear is down. Next flap setting. Start bringing in a little throttle because we don't want to get caught by it. See, it's slowing down really quick right now. There we go. And final flap setting. Coming in a little close here. Alright, keeping an eye on that speed still. Bring that throttle up a little more, and let's go ahead and let's take care of the approach checklist. Passenger signs are on, landing lights are on, we brought those on below 10,000, altimeters are set and cross-checked, landing gear is down, and flaps are set. So we're good to go for landing. Let's go ahead and get positioned here and get the track IR on. Hopefully that lines up properly. Of course not, it's all sideways and crooked now. Alright, looking pretty good here. Oh, come on. Trying to do this stuff at the last second really stinks. There we go. That's where we want to be. And let's go ahead and
Autopilot.
take the autopilot off.
Autopilot.
We know. Bring in just a little more speed. A little more throttle, that is.
Glide slope, glide slope, glide
Oh
slope,
god, that
glide
thing is
slope,
annoying,
glide
isn't it?
slope, glide
We're
slope.
half a degree below it, and it starts going frickin' bonkers on us. There we go. Alright. Let's see if we can put this down without too much damage, huh?
Approaching minimums.
Thank you. Little crosswind here. See, we got too high.
Minimums.
Continue. Because that stupid glide slope warning, we ended up too high. Oh great, now I've got ATC talking in my headset right now.
50, 40, 30, 20.
Oh, it just wants to float. I'm not even pulling back. I'm pushing forward on it.
10.
There we go. That was ridiculous. Minus 125 feet per minute. The thing was just floating like crazy. Wow. Full right rudder, and it won't go to the right. It's going to the left. Shut up. I have to say, I'm annoyed right now by this airplane. I'm annoyed. It's not doing anything like it's supposed to. It's being an absolute pain in the butt. What a ridiculous flight this turned out to be. Alright, here we are in our parking space in like the least optimized scenery on the planet apparently, because I'm getting like 15 frames a second, which is just ludicrous in my opinion. But the end of this entire flight has just been ridiculous to me. You know, the landing, I mean the whole glide slope thing just, sometimes I get frustrated, I'm sure we all do. But anyway, here we are in our parking space, so let's take care of our parking checklist. Parking brake is on. There it is right there. Start stop selectors both need to go to stop. I said to stop. There we go. Yes, keep dinging at me too, because that makes perfect sense. Red beacon can go off at this point. That is this guy here. Hydraulic pump 3A goes off, which is over here, this one. There it is. And then we go right into the power down checklist. Obviously the passenger signs can go off at this point, so that's good. Emergency lights can go off. I'm not worried about those. GPU and APU can go off, so let's turn the APU off. And that thing's going to start dinging batteries 1 and 2 off. 1 and 2. And thank you for all the dinging. Now I have to confess, I have no idea why I'm getting such low frame rates. I have almost no aircraft in the area. In fact, there's a whopping 22 aircraft within 500 miles, so I don't really know. But that's going to wrap it up for this flight. As always, if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and punch that subscribe button. We're at like close to 1,500 subscribers. I mean, I have a hard time imagining 1,500 people actually want to listen to me talk. But my wife laughs about it because she just thinks it's hilarious. But anyway, I do appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much. And, of course, Facebook, we got a lot more folks following on there, so I may start doing some updates there pretty soon. It just depends. The focus, obviously, is trying to get videos, and with as little bit of time as I have, we'll keep the focus where it counts most, which is videos. But if you would, follow us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, or maybe it's the other way around, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, whatever. Anyway. That wraps it up for this flight. Let's hop on over to the website real quick and close things out over there. Oh, almost forgot. A-cars. Dirt. Yeah, we haven't even ended the flight yet. We're at 309.57, so we'll just let it go to 310 there. There we go. And the flight, good to go. File the PIREP. And that's only 6 minutes longer, actually, so we're good there. PIREP's filed. Yes, I'm sure I want to exit. That's why I hit the X button. So there we are. Let's hop over to the website real quick. We'll wrap this video up. We'll call it good. All right, here we are back on the website, obviously. I have no idea why the PIREP has not been approved yet. Maybe it's because it's been a little while since I've flown, so it wants it to be manually approved. Who knows? Doesn't really matter. As you can see, it shows still 29 hours to go, but by the time we're done, 3 of those hours will be gone, so it's 20... So that's 26 hours left. 26 hours. That still seems like a long time, doesn't it? We'll get there. Let's take a look at the PIREP anyway. Maybe it's approved by the time we get into it. If we ever get into it, because my internet has decided to be ridiculously slow today. There we go. Approval's still pending, so it is what it is. But as you can see, there's our load price per units. Our profit was $10,746. Not bad. Not pleased with the landing of minus 125, but it is what it is. And that's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything else we need to worry about here. We got one warning. I'm sure it was an overspeed below 10,000 feet. Let's see. No. It's got to be way down here. Yep, excessive speed below 10,000 feet. Whatever. I just say that because I like to keep it below 10 or below 250 like we're supposed to, but I had right before I got on to as we were getting ready to turn to final there, I just, like I said, some frustrations here because I was already getting bounced all over. The airplane was acting a fool, and it was just ridiculous nonsense. So, but it is what it is. There we are. It'll be approved eventually. If it has to be manually approved, then so be it. Which means we have to decide what flights we're going to do next. So, aircraft. We can do either an E195, which of course will show up as an E190 on here. Start there. Ooh, there are some options here, huh? CYYZ to CYYC, which is Calgary, which is pretty much across the country, I believe. We could go over to Regina. Not sure where that is. Let's see, what do we got here? Saskatoon. Haven't heard of that. That's the same thing. CYYC, CYEG. So here's what I'm going to put as the options, and I'm going to write these down as I go. So we're at CYYZ to either CYYC or that's this one here. So either to Calgary, whereas right now we are in Toronto, or we can go to CYXE, which is Saskatoon. Okay. Actually, nope. That's not how we're doing it, is it? Disregard. Either Toronto to Calgary. That's option number 1. Or, let's see if they have 175 flights. Hey, there are. So your options are going to be between an E195 or an E170. We can go down to Denver. That's going to be our other option. And the reason for that, well, because I'm from Colorado originally, so there you have it. So you can either take an E1, it'll be 175, not a 170, either an E170 down to Denver, or we can take an E195 over to Calgary. The choice is yours. I will try to remember to post a voting comment, and that's where I want. So that's where I want you to reply with your vote instead of putting it all over. I can find them all in one place. You guys did pretty good about that on the last one. So that is it. That is all. Let's see if our time. Nope, still waiting approval. Okay, that's it. That's all. No more. As always, folks. Until next time, keep the blue side up unless otherwise instructed by ATC. Have a great day.